Hi everyone, welcome to a new podcast of Ep.10. My name is Boyan Dimitrievski, working as a head of operations. Today with me I have my colleague Monica, who is our lead change manager. So Monica, can you please tell us a few words about yourself?
Thank you, Boyan. It's nice to be here. My name is Monica Alexovska, working several years in AXM365 and coming with PM background, but mainly focusing on projects with change management need.
Good, thank you. So today we will be discussing the change management, what it is, where it is applicable. So Monica, please explain what change management is and what are the projects or initiatives when make most sense to apply it.
I will start with the simplest explanation what change management stands for. It's the methodology that we are using to support individual in the transition of the current to the future state, mainly in the projects where we are implementing some of the products of Microsoft, and usually where we have a huge change of the SIS processes and 2B processes, meaning where the people have a different way of working than the previous way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. So, as you mentioned, we are Microsoft partner. Most of our projects are implementation, rollouts of the Microsoft business applications, including finance and operation, business central, customer engagements, but sometimes it's also enhancements on these applications that are already existing. So, why do you think that it's important, it's crucial to have change management on such a projects?
Because we are working with people and we are implementing something that impacts the people, the key points in every organization. And as the nature of the humans, it's normal to react differently on different changes. That's how I think that the need of change management, it's a must. And whenever we have a conversation with our clients, I'm suggesting to have a separate team that will be working on the change side of things, meaning not only focusing on the process and the tech part, but also on the psychological side of the change, meaning someone that will be working closely with the people. Why it's important? Because I think that even huge companies and the recent studies showed that the huge amount of projects faced failures because of people and accepting of the change. So I would say that having a good change management approach, it's definitely a key to success in every kind of implementation.
Okay, but you and your team have many projects behind you so far. You have worked with many industries. With
Exactly.
With many clients
Different
across
locations.
different locations internationally.
Yeah.
So, based on your experience so far, what do you think are the most common challenges that the organizations are facing working on such a transformational projects? No matter if it's implementation or some transformation on the processes, at the end technology is not important, but the change is there. So what are the most common challenges that you see on the projects?
Human nature. Resistance. Most often we are facing a lot of resistance or accepting the change, as I mentioned previously. But also, I would say the first yes that we are receiving from people, that sometimes it's showing up that the people at the first time, when they see the change and understand the change, they actually didn't understood it in the right way. So after some time, we are facing some problems and resistance even after going live with some system or implementation. So definitely the resistance and facing the resistance afterwards. That's why I'm always saying that it's important for the change management team to be present before the change happened, during the change, but also after the change is implemented, so we can reinforce some activity and make sure that the change is accepted as the business and as we as a team want and expect.
And how do we address these challenges? I mean, what tools and techniques we have that we can help the organizations to identify such as stakeholders?
Yeah.
Because sometimes we all know that they are not always loud at the beginning.
Yeah.
They seem that they are collaborative, but the resistance comes a little bit later. So
Yeah.
how we address these challenges, how we identify them, and how we work with those people to reduce the risk and to reduce their resistance and make them supportive for the project.
I can talk on this in hours, but
Please
I
do.
would say whenever we have some conference, please join so you can hear more. But I will try to be short as possible now in this explanation. Of course, that there are some methodologies, approaches that we are using. The most used one in the previous projects and showed as a best practice for us, it's the ADKAR methodology. And it's basically working on several areas with the people, meaning on the awareness, on the capability of the people, reinforcement of some activities, knowledge, but also all of those activities that come in different areas of the ADKAR methodology is helping us to approach people and gather their trust and bonding so they can be open with us and start believing in not only in the team but also in the project. So having and gathering their trust, it's not an easy job, and I would say that definitely it should be someone that is a people person that understand other people and how to approach them, but also to listen to them. Because to understand what they are going through, and I think that we are all aware about the change curve and that every human is passing several stages of changes, where some human is facing doesn't need to be an implementation of some system. It can be a changes of the offices that we are doing often, but usually we are facing some states that we should be cautious and take different kind of actions to support the individuals. So having some structure in the working and having some activities in advance planned, it's really helpful. So definitely we have some tools that we are implementing. I mentioned the best practice methodology that we are using. And I think that I covered it a little bit, but if you want me to explain something more, just ask.
Oh, well, yeah, the beginning, it's really important to identify these people. How do we do that?
Oh, the stakeholders, yeah. So you mentioned the stakeholders impact analysis, and that's our first stage as the change management team once we start working on some project. And it's helping us to understand how many stakeholders focus groups we have and when they are impacted and how. Because sometimes we need to plan in advance because not all of the stakeholders are impacted at the same level. So we need to start working with one focus group at the beginning, then in the next project phase with the second focus group, and etc., moving forward. So in this distinction of stakeholders group, we have a different kind of communication. I can mention a little bit, I can talk a little bit about the communication here, since communication is a key. So having everything set up at the beginning in the right way, it's really helping us to overcome situations like resistance again, because we can have a resistance even related to the communication. If we communicate too often with people, or if we communicate but they are not impacted at these stages as well, just as an example.
Okay, got it. So we know what we need to do. What if we don't do it? What would be the consequence? Now I'm going a little bit outside the scenario, but just this question pop up to my mind. What will happen if we don't do this stakeholder analysis, and if we don't identify or miss to identify some of the stakeholders that are resistant or might be resistant in the coming period as the project moves on?
First, I will answer what will happen if we don't do this analysis. That will be a mess. Why? Because, as I mentioned, a lot of people will resist. Maybe someone will resist why they weren't involved at the beginning and they shouldn't, and why they are not informed about the change. And actually, we had a similar situation in some of the projects where the client came and said that the previous implementation didn't include all of the impacted stakeholders. So that's a risk because we'll face a lot of resistance, and that will give us a lot of work at the beginning instead of focusing on the planning and the right mapping and shifting focus at the same time on different areas can be complicated. Having right stakeholders mapped, as I said, it's really important because of the communication, but also because of the work and the support that is required from our side. And I'm always suggesting have a validation checkpoint. It's not a big deal, but it will always give you a safe feeling that you did a good job in the mapping. So what I'm doing when we have a rollouts, for example, I'm doing the validation of the users moving forward. So I'm making a checkpoints in my change management plan, and I know that no matter if it's before I start the rollout, I'm remapping again just to make sure that someone maybe left the organization, someone joined the organization, and I should consider them as my stakeholders moving forward. So having a checkups, it's always a suggestion.
Good. You mentioned communication. You mentioned that the communication is very important aspect of the change management. And I assume that in the change management, because as we mentioned, when you do transformation in the company, in the organization, then you do it across all levels.
Yeah, correct.
Starting from the executive level to the people that are even pressing one button in the system, maybe on the daily basis. So how do you ensure what communication strategies we can implement in order to communicate with all these stakeholders? Because you need to use different medium for the communication. You need to use different terminology for each of these people. So how we are incorporating all of that into one successful communication plan or communication strategy?
I'm always saying communicate smart and communicate short and precise, because if we stuck in too much communication, that can be a loss sometimes for us. And always be creative. If you're not creative enough, probably people will not stick to your communication content, and they will not reading you. So having a different communication platforms, as you mentioned, it's again suggestion coming from our side, because we want to not only target all of the stakeholders group sometimes, but also to make sure that we inform them. Because sometimes having people, they are used to Viva Engage, but they are not used to the Teams channels, or they are used to the organization intranet, but they are not used to posters placed in the aisles in the organization offices. So having several communication platforms, I think we are avoiding that kind of situation, like I didn't saw the news, or I didn't saw what is going on in the project. So to avoid that, it's really important to have a communication plan, which contains the dates of communication, and it's usually following the project management plan, since we are working really closely during one implementation. So communicating the key milestones, communicating the key project phases will be part of that communication plan, but not only those, also the stakeholders mapping that we mentioned previously. So communicating in the right way with each of the stakeholders group, because we are not communicating in the same way with everyone. So let's take, for example, we are starting a project in the organization. At the beginning, only the project team should be informed about all necessary stuff in the project, but also the top management, as you mentioned, the different levels of the organogram. So having their buy-in and having their support at the beginning, the communication starts with them, and I will shift to that point. When I say communication is a key, I don't say it just like that. So as I said, every layer of the organization will be impacted somehow. And having a proper change management plan and having a proper change communication plan will help us to deliver the communication in the right way. So all of these documents and approaches that we mentioned from the beginning, they are connected with each other. So yeah, communicating the right way with every layer, it's a must.
It's, let's say, easier to communicate people that are sitting in front of the laptop or PC, someone in finance or someone on the executive level, but how do you touch, because in our interests are also people that are working on the shop floor,
Yeah.
that are responsible for the manufacturing processes, people that are working in the warehouse, that are not always in front of the PC or working with some smaller devices.
Yeah.
So how we can effectively touch these people and keep them informed or keep them engaged on the project, that something is happening in the company, something that will have some kind of impact on their daily work. So how we are doing that?
So as I said, the first step is the stakeholders mapping. So while you're doing that analysis, usually you are doing the analysis of way of working of the client side. So I need to understand how they are working, where they are working, if they are working, as you mentioned, on their computers, mobiles. And as I mentioned, choosing several options of communication, that it's a must. I really meant that, because as you mentioned, not all of them are using devices, and they are working in the shop floors, warehouses, on the ground. So we are finding every possible way how the information can be delivered to them. That can be a poster on the ground. Usually they have TVs on the shop floor, so we are using those as well, just to make sure that we inform them. And usually because we have a lot of workshops and on-site visits where the client is based, we're spending a lot of time to make sure that the communication is spread while we are there during our visit, but not only on-site visits and not only the change management team. I will mention here that the change agents, or it's a vocabulary, or the change champions can be used for transmitting the message in the right way. So having people coming from inside of the organization that are willing to help and support the change, and they are really believing in the project and the change vision, they are really helping us in the communication as well.
Good. So we have the change, the project is going on, the people should be engaged on the project. We know that this project, such a projects are not like a show that we can run as a partner by ourselves, but it's a project that also requires support from the client side. It requires certain stakeholders to be engaged into the project more than the others, like the business process managers, like the key users, that we don't always have that luxury, those people to be fully dedicated on the project. Usually they have some activities, some operational day-to-day activities that they need to perform. So, and in some cases they need to run an extra mile to support the execution of the project. How we motivate the people to do that? How do we motivate them to run this extra mile? How we keep them engaged on the project?
You mentioned a key point here again. That's something that we are raising at every beginning, that sometimes people can complain and people can resist because of lack of time and due to day-to-day activities. But what I can promise and I can say that we are doing our best to keep them motivated, because I'm always saying this. Change is the end result of all through learning. So they are not only helping to the organization to be changed, but they are helping to be better version of themselves as well. Why? Because they are learning something more. They are they will have experience to use additional system, an ERP system that we all of us know that it's currently one of the most used systems in the world. So having that in mind, that they are moving forward on their own pace, I would say that that keeps them motivated during those hard times. We had them, I cannot lie, but having us right next to them and supporting them with the right way of choosing the right words and support, we always overcome it.
You mentioned another important thing. You mentioned many important things, but one of those is that you just mentioned, it's learning. So what is the role of the change manager in the process of learning or in the process of training the people to adapt to the new system, adapt to the new way of working? Sometimes it's not only the new system, but sometimes it's completely new way of how certain business processes will be executed in the company. So what is the role of the change management in the training of the people?
Sometimes client mix a little bit those two segments. Just to be clear, change manager is helping the training coordinator to deliver the trainings and everything related to the trainings, but it's not the main thing that the change management team should do. We have a lot of activities that we should do before the trainings come to the stage. But we're making, and after, but we are making sure that it's delivered in the right way. If the right approach is chosen regarding the organizational structure and the learning curve that it's already existing in the company. Because, for instance, not all of the companies are used to the train-the-trainer approach. But on the other hand, a lot of companies are choosing that approach due to budgets, opportunities, and things like that. So I would say that the training coordinator is closely working together with the change manager and the change management team. And it's a crucial part because it needs to be delivered in the right way. Why? Because a lot of people are complaining that they didn't get the right training or not in the right time. So we want to avoid that. And why we are working closely? Because the change management team is responsible to do the change impact assessment analysis before the training happens, together with the key people in the business, because we are coming with the expertise, but we need help from inside to map that change, how it will look like, what kind of level impact will have inside on each user, and etc. So having that in place and having someone that will do all of the organizing stuff related to the training, it will lead us to successful implementation of the trainings as well. I mentioned train-the-trainer approach. Let me just touch that point a little bit. I think it's a really good way to choose a training to be delivered, because you're building in-house knowledge in your company. Because the implementation team is here and we can deliver the training, it's not a problem, but we will not be present always. And of course that we are here to support.
We can, but
we can, but that's not the
there
ideal.
is other implication.
Remember, I'm more working on the client side.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's beautiful to see how people from not knowing anything about the system, they are really building the capacity, in-house capacity that can maintain that work afterwards. Why? Because, as I said, we will not be there forever. But not only that, you will have a new people joining the company. You will need to do onboarding sessions, train the new employees to the system. So that in-house capacity and knowledge really helps in that. Since we are not only looking about this implementation, we are looking also outside of the box, meaning for those kind of situations. We want everything to be prepared, even when we left the client.
Yeah, I would just add here that not only for the training purposes, but these people, the knowledge that they gain is important when after you go live. I mean, they will act as a kind of the level of the support. So before the people approach the support partner for help, they will first go to these key users. That many of the challenges and many of the issues that the end users face, these key users, if they're of course properly trained and paid enough attention to learn the things by themselves, they will be able to resolve those issues. So it's another very, very important aspect of it.
And I would say that the knowledge transfer, it's easier like that, since if you have, for instance, different training approach chosen to have D365 analysts directly to the end users. So once they left, you don't have that middleman. And that middleman is really important, because usually they are involved from early beginnings in the project, and they are really capable right after we finish with implementation. They are really capable resources that you want to keep.
Okay, so we agree that the change management is not performing the training. It's doing a lot of preparation work for the training to be successful. But we also understand that the training is one of the quality gates when we need to decide on the go, no-go decision for going live with the new system. So how change manager can assure and can provide a important and valuable input to this decision from the training perspective? How we can measure that, okay, the training was performed and it provided the good results, the outcome that we want is achieved with the training.
KPIs. And they're making fun of me that I really love KPIs. I really love. Why? Because it gives me the clear picture of the situation. And usually we have a readiness KPIs, but also adoption KPIs. And one of them are before going live and one of them after going live. The first ones, which you're referring to, are actually the readiness KPIs. That's performed right after the delivery of training, because how the project manager on project management side, it's giving go from process perspective. That's how the change manager should give a go from people perspective. If they really accepted the change, if they are really confident with the usage of the new system, if they really understood how the new way of working looks like for each of them. So all of those, and I can count a lot of them more, but all of those areas of investigations and analysis from our side is helping us to understand if some user requires more support from our side, but also if the stakeholders group is ready to go live. So usually having that go, no go meeting, I'm coming with analysis, statistics, so I'm not talking just like that. I have numbers in front of me and saying, yes, the people are ready, or no, they are not ready. We need another round of support or another round of training, or I'm usually having action points in place just to offer the client what we can do to support the utilization.
Good. Okay, so we have a go, training was done. Really nice. We have a go, we go live. What is the role of the change manager in the first 1 or 2 months, let's say, after the go live, or during the hypercare period of a project?
I mentioned at the beginning that usually in this period the resistance really it's showing
Goes
up. Yeah, it's showing up because when you have the whole team in front of you and you start training and you have the support here, everyone says everything works perfect. We're happy with the system. We're happy with the new way of working. But once we left their side, usually the resistance showed up. The change management team it's needed the most here, and that's something that it's coming under the adoption, and we are tracking that adoption period. Usually we are there for the first 3 months. After the 3 months we are expecting that they really embrace the change, they accept it, and they are back to their daily activities without any issues. But of course if we notice some need that period to be extended, can be, but that's our best practice. So the first 3 months of adoption, we are here to track those KPIs, to report that statistic to all the needed stakeholders that needs to be informed, mainly the PMO team, the PM side, top management, and sometimes even the broader group if that's something that clients wants to show and report. But also to have checkups with all the super users that we mentioned, or the change agents, or the key users. It's again terminology, but the key people that we are working with, if they need some more support, just to check up if they continued in the same way of working that we are expecting, because the main goal in one organization for one change manager is to create a change ready culture. You'll have that project today, but you want to replicate that knowledge in another projects as well. So teaching them to use the right channels of communication, the right words, using the right words, using the right way of transferring the knowledge, making some culture where everyone is collaborating with each other and asking questions, sharing. It's a golden for every client. So we are maintaining those kind of activities after going live, just to make sure that they are feeling like one team. Because believe it or not, we face sometimes situations where one department from different legal entities, they are not collaborating with each other. And once they found that they can share knowledge, they can share some tips and tricks, or someone solved some issue that the other user couldn't solve it by their own. Having that change ready culture and environment for knowledge sharing, we found it really useful. So we're working on that part as well. And also we are doing a lot of checkups in this period. And once those 3 months passed and we said, okay, we are happy with this country, we are moving. Actually, we are doing the exit as a team and moving to the next rollout stage. Of course, that sometimes happens to come back to the previous country, but those are rare situations.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, now I will go a few steps back.
Okay.
At the very beginning of the project, I will go for a topic that sometimes it's observed as a very technical topic, but I think that the change management can play the crucial role there. This is the fight that we have on each of the project. It's not our fight, but it's sometimes between the project sponsor and the business, or the business and IT. Like, should we customize the system, or we should keep close to the standard and change the processes, and adapt the business processes according to the Microsoft standard and the best recommendation, and how Microsoft build the system to work. So what is the role of the change manager in those decisions? I mean, decisions will be made. Sometimes the goals of the
mindset.
Projects are very are different. So how the change manager can reduce the pressure and can have the positive impact, because these decisions very often are hard decisions, like, are we going to customize the system or not?
Yeah. And that lands.
And we have many unhappy people
Yeah.
when the
It's
decisions
often, and you cannot promise sunshine and rainbows. Of course, that those kinds of situations will happen, and we are facing them. So, clear change request lifecycle, including the gap proposals, including the whole analysis that goes before we raise a change request. I would say clear communication of that, first of all. And then definitely we should be present, because this is not only a problem that every client can face if they are going in too much customizations and changing a lot of stuff in the system, and afterwards having a problem with all of the Microsoft updates, testing, something doesn't work as it should. Shifting the mindset. So at the early stages, we are saying that we will need to change some processes, internal processes for the client. And this should be communicated out loud in front of everyone, so everyone can have the same expectations. Of course that they cannot have it, but we will come there time by time. The problem is that when you come to the client side and they know that the project will start, they think that all of their problems will end with the project, because they are expecting too much. Again, communication is a key. Setting a clear expectations of what this project will deliver to the organization and to every stakeholders group, it's a key. We are helping with that, but also, as I said, we are helping with the shifting of the minds and the thinking, and explaining that sometimes not every problems will be solved with the new system. Even sometimes they will change the way of working and maybe adding 2 more steps on top of it than the current way of working. But having us there and representing it in the right way and communicating in the right way, it really helps. So definitely playing a crucial role in the whole change request lifecycle and everything. We are there together with the change advisory board, communicating if something is really crucial for the organization, for the business, but also if some current business process can be changed for some organization or not. So having us with our analysis that usually we are doing on the change impact assessment part, together with the key business people, it's helping to decide, it's helping to the client to decide whether it's good to go with some customization or not, or choose another way, workarounds and etc.
Okay, so I think that we covered most of the things. We covered the methodology that we are usually using. You mentioned Atkar, but I assume there are
more.
there are more that we sometimes use. Some of it tailor-made, of course. And what about the technology? Now we have the AI, we have many tools that we can use and that can be of great help for you and your team of change managers to perform your work in a better and more effective way.
So first of all, I will remind all of them again. There are a lot of methodologies and approaches, but hopefully someday they can hear a little bit more in some of our conferences. I just mentioned my favorite one, the one that showed as a best practice in many of the projects. But AI, the new tomorrow, definitely help us in our work. And I will mention one example. We said that we are working with different clients from different areas of the world and different languages, different cultures. So sometimes we're struggling to communicate it in the right way, since not all of them are using the English language as their main, let's say it like that. So AI really helps in that one, because as a part of the communication content, usually we are having videos, testimonials, even podcasts. So having AI is really help us to translate those in different languages. So yeah, definitely that's only one example, but we have a lot. I'm not sure if I can share them all here.
Don't
So
mention.
that's why I only include only one example.
But
I
it's
think
important
enough.
aspect
Yes,
of
definitely.
the daily
And
work.
definitely it's something that we are using and we will use in the future, of course. We are finding different ways of how we can use it and how it can help us.
So, if you motivate someone to become a change manager, what skills are needed to be a good change manager?
I think that
Despite
I
the people
opened my
person and
yeah. I think that
what
I
else?
opened, and patience, a lot of patience,
Yes.
a lot of energy. I think that even you sitting in the same office with me know how it's important to be positive person and having the right approach of working with people. And definitely I can repeat it several times, people person. That's really a skill that not all of the people are having. Slow talking as well, since you're communicating with a lot of people and you want to make sure that your message is accepted or transmitted in the right way. It's actually transmission, yeah. So positivity, a lot of energy, a lot of time, and definitely people person.
Good. So, I think that we are done. Thank you for being part of the podcast. I think that we successfully managed to change and to postpone the recording of this podcast. We are discussing for a few months already.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Great.
If for some of our listeners, if you have any questions, just visit our website. I think that you can send us any questions or get in touch with us so we can discuss and answer any questions or any way we can help to your projects.
I would love that.
Thank you.
Thank you.